Hello! Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It also helps with our retirement. Haha. There is a profound and dangerous misconception about Stoicism that keeps millions of people trapped in financial mediocrity. When most people hear the word Stoic, they picture a man enduring pain in silence, suppressing his emotions, and accepting poverty as a virtue. They believe that to be a Stoic is to reject wealth, to embrace suffering, and to detach from the material world. If you hold this belief, you have fundamentally misunderstood the philosophy. The ancient Stoics did not teach the rejection of prosperity, they taught the mastery of it. In fact, some of the most successful, wealthy, and powerful individuals in human history were practicing Stoics. Seneca the Younger was one of the wealthiest men in the Roman Empire, a brilliant investor, and a trusted advisor to emperors. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man on the planet, commanding the vast resources of Rome. They did not view wealth as an evil, they viewed it as a tool. They understood a secret that the modern self-help industry has completely forgotten. True prosperity is not just about the numbers in your bank account. It is about the psychological architecture that allows you to build, keep, and leverage those numbers without losing your soul in the process. Today, we are going to dismantle the modern myths of wealth creation and rebuild your financial life using the ultimate operating system of the ancient world. We are going to explore how to unlock true, unshakable prosperity according to Stoicism. To understand Stoic prosperity, we must first conquer the greatest psychological barrier to wealth: attachment. The modern world teaches you to obsess over the outcome. You obsess over the launch of your product, the closing of the deal, the performance of your stock portfolio. You tie your emotional state to the fluctuating numbers on a screen. And when the market drops or the client says no, you are emotionally destroyed. You panic, you make irrational decisions, you sell at the bottom, you quit the business. This is the exact opposite of Stoicism. The Stoics categorized things in the world into two buckets: things up to us and things not up to us. This is the dichotomy of control, the foundational pillar of Epictetus's teachings. You control your effort, your strategy, your integrity, your preparation, and your reaction. You do not control the economy, the stock market, the algorithm, the competitor, or the final decision of the client. When you tie your happiness and your sense of success to things outside your control, you are voluntarily enslaving yourself to fortune. You are handing the keys of your emotional and financial destiny to a blind, chaotic universe. The Stoic entrepreneur and investor flips this paradigm. They become utterly obsessed with the input and completely detached from the outcome. They pour every ounce of their energy into creating an undeniable product, into mastering their craft, into executing their strategy flawlessly. But once the work is done, they let go of the result. If the market rewards them, they accept it with gratitude. If the market punishes them, they accept it with equal grace, extract the lesson, and adjust their strategy. This detachment is not apathy. It is supreme, calculated focus. When you stop worrying about the outcome, your cognitive bandwidth is freed up entirely to execute the process. And ironically, it is this relentless, unemotional focus on the process that consistently produces the most extraordinary financial outcomes. You cannot build wealth if you are constantly checking the scoreboard. You build wealth by playing the game with absolute mastery. This brings us to one of the most misunderstood concepts in Stoic philosophy, a concept that will radically change how you view money: the doctrine of preferred indifference. The Stoics believed that the only true good is virtue, and the only true evil is vice. Everything else, including health, wealth, reputation, and poverty, is technically indifferent. It does not determine your moral character. However, the Stoics were not foolish. They recognized that some indifferents have value and some have disvalue. Wealth is a preferred indifferent. It is preferred over poverty because it gives you the resources to help your family, to fund your ambitions, and to operate effectively in the world. But it is still an indifferent. This means that while you should pursue wealth, you must never allow it to become the source of your identity or your happiness. Seneca wrote extensively about this. He was a multi-millionaire in ancient Rome, yet he famously said that if fortune were to take it all away, he would lose nothing that was truly his. He viewed his wealth not as a part of himself, but as an external tool that had been temporarily placed in his care.
This mindset shift is the ultimate key to unlocking prosperity. When you view money as a preferred indifferent, you stop making desperate, emotionally charged financial decisions. You stop taking reckless risks just to get rich quick because you know that your worth is not tied to your net worth. You stop hoarding money out of fear because you know that true security comes from your mind, not your vault. You become a master of the money rather than a slave to it. And the universe has a funny way of rewarding those who do not desperately need it. When you approach wealth with the calm, measured detachment of a Stoic, you become highly attractive to opportunities. People trust you, investors trust you, clients trust you, because they can sense that you are not operating from a place of scarcity or desperation. You are operating from a place of abundance and inner authority. Let us delve deeper into the practical application of this philosophy by looking at how Seneca actually managed his vast wealth, because Stoicism is not just theory, it is a highly practical guide to living. Seneca did not just inherit his wealth, he built it through strategic investments, real estate, and lending. But he managed it with a level of risk mitigation and diversification that modern financial advisors would admire. He understood the concept of asymmetric risk. He positioned himself in situations where the downside was strictly capped, but the upside was virtually unlimited. He kept a significant portion of his wealth in highly liquid assets, ensuring that he was never forced to sell his long-term investments during a market downturn. This is the ancient equivalent of the cash buffer we discuss in modern wealth preservation. Seneca knew that liquidity is survival. When a crisis hits, cash is king. Furthermore, Seneca practiced what he called the evening review. Every night, he would examine his day, his decisions, and his financial moves. He would ask himself what he did well, what he did poorly, and what he could do better tomorrow. He did not beat himself up, he simply analyzed the data. If you want to unlock Stoic prosperity, you must adopt this relentless commitment to self-correction. You must review your business decisions, your investment portfolio, and your daily habits with cold, objective scrutiny. You must strip away the ego and look only at the facts. Where did you lose money because of an emotional decision? Where did you miss an opportunity because of laziness? The Stoic does not hide from their financial mistakes. They dissect them, learn from them, and ensure they never make the same error twice. This continuous loop of action, review, and refinement is the engine of compounding wealth. But what happens when the worst-case scenario occurs? What happens when the business fails, the market crashes, or a bad investment wipes out a significant portion of your net worth? This is where the true Stoic reveals themselves. This is where the philosophy of Amor Fati, the love of fate, comes into play. While the phrase was coined later by Nietzsche, the concept is deeply rooted in Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a blazing fire turns everything thrown into it into fuel. A small candle is extinguished by the wind, but a blazing fire consumes it and burns higher. When you are building prosperity, you will face setbacks. You will face financial ruin, betrayal, and failure. The average person views these events as tragedies. They complain, they play the victim, they ask why this is happening to them. The Stoic views these events as fuel. They ask, how can I use this? How can this setback make me stronger, smarter, and more resilient? When a Stoic loses money, they do not lose their mind. They accept the reality of the situation instantly. They don't waste a single ounce of energy wishing things were different. They say, this has happened. It is now my reality. What is the most virtuous, most effective next step? This radical acceptance eliminates the paralysis of despair. It allows you to pivot rapidly. In the world of business and investing, the person who can accept a massive loss without emotional collapse and immediately formulate a new strategy will always outcompete the person who spends 6 months mourning their lost capital. Your ability to transform financial adversity into an advantage is the ultimate competitive edge. It is the alchemy of the Stoic mind. To truly unlock this level of prosperity, we must address the invisible thief that steals the wealth and potential of millions of people, the illusion of infinite time. We live as if we are going to live forever. We procrastinate on starting the business, we delay investing our capital, we waste hours scrolling through social media, engaging in trivial arguments, and consuming junk entertainment. We tell ourselves we will build our financial empire tomorrow. Seneca wrote a brilliant essay called On the Shortness of Life. He argued that life is not short, we just waste a massive amount of it. We act as if our time is an infinite resource, but time is actually your most valuable, non-renewable asset. This brings us to the ultimate Stoic practice, Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. This is not meant to be depressing. It is meant to be the ultimate clarifier of priorities. When you truly internalize the fact that your time on earth is finite, you stop tolerating mediocrity. You stop engaging in low-leverage activities. You stop caring about the opinions of people who do not matter. You look at your bank account, your business, and your investments, and you ask yourself, am I using my time to build something of lasting value, or am I just distracting myself from my mortality? Memento Mori creates a profound sense of urgency. It forces you to cut out the financial dead weight. It makes you say no to bad deals, no to toxic partnerships, and no to lifestyle creep. When you realize that you could leave this world at any moment, you stop buying things to impress people you don't even like. You stop trading the best years of your life for a slightly bigger paycheck at a job you hate. You start optimizing for freedom, for impact, for legacy. You start building wealth not just for the sake of having money, but to buy back your time, to secure your family, and to leave a dent in the universe. Death is the lens that brings your financial priorities into sharp, undeniable focus. As you integrate these Stoic principles into your life, you will begin to build what the ancient philosophers called the inner citadel. This is an unshakable mental fortress. In the modern financial world, you are constantly bombarded by noise. The media screams about inflation, recession, and collapse. Social media flaunts the exaggerated wealth of others, triggering your